The Maserati Levante is not just another luxury SUV, it is an Italian masterpiece that carries the DNA of Maserati's racing heritage, combined with the modern demands of power, elegance, and everyday usability, making it one of the most unique vehicles in its segment. And when we talk about the Levante, we are diving into a story that blends design, performance, and exclusivity, starting with its debut in 2016 when Maserati, after decades of producing iconic sedans and coupes like the Quattroporte and the Gran Turismo, finally stepped into the SUV market to challenge giants like Porsche Cayenne, BMW X5, Mercedes GLE, and Audi Q8, and while most SUVs in this category are focused heavily on utility, the Levante was designed to stand apart by bringing passion, Italian craftsmanship, and that unique Maserati flair to the world of SUVs. So let us explore every detail of this machine in depth, because it is not just about driving from point A to point B but about making a statement on the road. When you first look at the Levante, you cannot help but notice its exterior styling, sculpted lines flowing from front to back, the signature trident logo dominating the grille, the aggressive yet elegant headlights, and the coupe-like roofline that gives it a dynamic profile unlike traditional SUVs. The designers clearly wanted to merge sportiness with luxury, ensuring the Levante never looked bulky or ordinary, and depending on the trim you get, whether it is the GT, Modena, Modena S, or the powerful Trofeo, the car expresses a slightly different personality. From subtle elegance to raw aggression, under the hood Maserati offered engines that truly defined performance, starting with a twin-turbocharged V6 that produced around 350 to 430 horsepower depending on the variant, giving brisk acceleration and smooth highway cruising. But for enthusiasts who wanted the ultimate Maserati SUV, the Trofeo trim came with a Ferrari-derived twin-turbocharged V8 pushing nearly 580 horsepower, making it one of the fastest SUVs in its class with a 0 to 100 time of under 4 seconds, and that is where the Levante really stands out, because unlike many SUVs that only pretend to be sporty, the Maserati Levante actually delivers the drama, the sound, and the rush of a true performance car, and the sound is something you cannot ignore. Maserati has always been famous for the music of its engines, and the Levante continues the tradition with a throaty growl that reminds you are not in just another SUV, you are in a Maserati. Step inside the Levante and you are greeted with a cabin that speaks the language of luxury, soft Italian leather wrapping the seats, handcrafted details on the dashboard, wood, carbon fiber, or metal trims depending on your preference, and even though critics often mention that its infotainment system was not the most advanced compared to German rivals, the cabin atmosphere makes you forgive that because the Levante feels special, and that sense of occasion is something Maserati has mastered over the years. The seats are supportive and comfortable, the driving position is sporty yet commanding, giving you confidence whether you are cruising on highways or tackling curvy mountain roads, and let us not forget the practicality, because at the end of the day this is an SUV, with enough rear seat space for passengers and a boot capacity of around 580 liters, making it versatile enough for daily use or long journeys. But Maserati never wanted the Levante to be a purely practical machine, it wanted it to be emotional, and that is why it handles differently, equipped with intelligent all-wheel drive, adaptive suspension, and drive modes that let you choose between comfort and sport. The Levante gives you a driving experience that feels alive, sharper than many expect from a vehicle of its size. Now reliability has been a point of debate among owners, some reporting flawless experiences for years while others pointing to expensive maintenance, but that is part of the territory when you buy into an exotic brand like Maserati. You are not just paying for transport, you are paying for an experience, a badge that carries prestige, and a driving sensation that you cannot replicate in a mainstream car. And speaking of prestige, the Maserati badge itself is enough to turn heads, because while a Porsche or BMW SUV might be common in many cities, a Maserati Levante still carries that aura of rarity. It is not a car you see every day, and that exclusivity adds to the appeal. As we move closer to the present day, Maserati has already announced that the Levante as we know it, with its powerful V6 and V8 engines, is nearing the end of its production run. The brand is transitioning toward electrification with the Folgore line, and the upcoming Levante Folgore is expected to deliver over 745 horsepower with tri-motor electric performance and a range of around 300 miles, which means the Levante is evolving with the times but still holding onto its identity of power and style. But for enthusiasts, the last generation of V8-powered Levantes will forever remain iconic because they represent the final chapter of Maserati's combustion era in SUVs, and in many ways that makes the Levante a collectible, a car that not only competed with rivals but also carved its own niche. The reviews over the years have highlighted its strengths and weaknesses, strengths being the beautiful design, thrilling engines, and exclusivity, while weaknesses often pointed to infotainment, handling precision compared to Porsche, and higher running costs. But that is what makes the Levante such an emotional purchase. It is not about being the most logical choice, it is about choosing something with soul, passion, and individuality, and owners who truly connect with the car often say that once you drive it and hear that exhaust note, you forget about the small shortcomings. The Levante becomes more than a car, it becomes a companion. So in conclusion, the Maserati Levante is a luxury SUV that redefines what it means